Welcome to my independent study project on birth order. Birth order is simply the order in which you are born. Like, I'm a latest born, Raquel's a firstborn, my mother is a middleborn, and my dad is an only child. When I began my project, I had a few questions that I was aiming to answer. They were, what are popular theories on birth order? Does birth order actually affect your personality? Do effects of birth order vary in different environments? That's another. And are popular theories on birth order based on legitimate evidence? There are two general types of psychologists that study birth order. Popular psychologists and academic psychologists. The difference between the two are that academic psychologists conduct scientific studies, or have to, and popular psychologists are not required to. My first question was, what are popular theories on birth order? These theories are made by popular psychologists. I found many answers to my question, but the most common answers were, if you are an oldest child, you are expected to be very bossy and mature. You are also supposed to be smarter than your peers, later born peers. If you are a youngest child, then you are expected not to be mature. You are also expected to use childish techniques like crying to get your way. If you are a middle child, then you are supposed to be a show-off. You are supposed to have middle child syndrome, which is similar to depression because you are neglected by your parents. If you are an only child, then you are supposed to be spoiled and snobby because all your parents' resources are used on you, not shared with an older or younger sibling. These theories, don't be offended by them because they're just speculation. Does birth order actually affect your personality? The answer is yes and no. Don't understand what I mean? I'm going to explain it right on this side. The reason why I did not answer the last question fully was because the answer ties in with this question. Do effects of birth order vary in different environments? Yes, they do. When you're with your siblings, you will be affected by birth order, but when you're with your peers, you won't be. If you're an oldest, sure, you're going to be smarter than your younger siblings because you are older and have learned more, but you will not necessarily be smarter than later born peers your age. This goes with almost all the traits associated with birth order, like bossiness or how mature you are. When I found out my previous answer, I was wondering how people came up with the theories if they are incorrect. This is where I got my question, are popular theories based on legitimate evidence? Again, I found many different and contrary answers, but the ones that I found to be true were that most popular theories were not based on legitimate evidence. Sometimes the researcher does not realize that their study is biased, but sometimes they do. Some ways people can make a biased study are, they can only sample some of the population that will give them the result they are looking for. They can only use the results they are looking for and discard the rest. The problem with these two scenarios are that the psychologist is not keeping an open mind. They cannot accept that their hypothesis might be wrong. A researcher can also forget to factor in family size. I will now take a moment to explain family size. Family size comes into play when you say that oldest children are the smartest. Your intelligence comes more from your family than from your order of birth. If you compare academic performance between firstborn and laterborns from a well-educated family, then there is no difference between intelligence. Nor is there a difference between academic performance between firstborns and laterborns in a less educated family. The reason why studies show that there is a difference is they don't take into account family size. Better educated families tend to have less children because they have children later in life. So there is a higher percentage of firstborns in better educated families. Less educated families tend to have larger families, so there is less of a chance of you being a firstborn. So in the percentage of laterborns, there are more from uneducated families. Another mistake that researchers can make during the study is by assuming that by doing an in-the-home study, which is interviewing your family or siblings or observing you while you're in the home, they think that they have correctly found where somebody behaves everywhere else too. While I was doing this project, I found many interesting facts. This was the most interesting one so far. I found that 21 of NASA's first 23 astronauts were firstborn. So I asked my expert about this because if my conclusion is this can't be possible, how can I find this? She said that this was just a coincidence because she showed me a study that found 31 out of 35 people in a group of inappropriate exotic dancers were firstborn. You did not have to have a lot of intelligence to be this, so you can find both ways. There are coincidences in both cases. I will restate my conclusions now. Your order of birth does not affect your personality when you are not in company of your siblings. At home, you will act different than if you are at school or with your friends. And it is extremely possible to create bias studies on birth order in many different ways. Well, I'm almost done with my presentation, but first I would like to thank Miss G for helping me, my mother and father for helping me, Judith Rich Harris for helping my research, Professor Thomas for his letter, Raquel for watching this over and over, and everyone here for watching. Thank you.